Okay. Alrighty. This is going to be a controversial video, so I have to issue a trigger warning. Okay. Warning issued. So, anyway, the difficulty I have with dealing with modern day women. And yes, you can say whatever you want. I've got internalized misogyny. I'm a pick me girl. It's all right. We're all adults here. I can take it. So, do with that what you will. But I'm beginning to think that maybe there's something to this whole passport bros movement I've been hearing about. But more on that later. I gotta talk now about how did I get here from there. Well, when I was in my 20s, I used to read a little bit about feminist theory. And I can't name any specific books I tried to read. But I did. There was one I attempted, but I couldn't finish it. I don't know if I was bored with it or read more like a thesis. But I came away thinking, and this is literature going back to the 60s. And I came away thinking that back then, I guess feminism was kind of a social club, if you will, for women who back then didn't get married and have kids. Because if you think about it, most of women's identity over centuries has always been marriage and children. And that little specific group of women had to find something that identified them and made, and made them stand out and have a niche to belong to. As time went by, I learned that wasn't the case. Or it could have been women who wanted to be popular and they wanted to be cheerleaders, baton twirlers, models, etc. One of those traditional avenues of femininity. So they needed that little space to define themselves. As it turns out, I couldn't have been more wrong. It's not a social club for unpopular women or women who didn't do the usual house and kids thing. It's a really, really, really bad ideology. But anyway, once I made that connection, I guess you could say I got wiser. And I can tell you I've had a lot of experiences in the past. I've dealt with toxic females. I don't know what it is. We can talk about bullying. I know I had to deal with my share of bullying. Women can be absolutely brutal when it comes to treating other women poorly. And let's not forget being excluded is one of those. I know men can do that too. Men can be very cruel to other men. And, well, they are absolutely ruthless when it comes to sussing out the weak link in the chain. But I think that's always been true. So I know I had my share of fights in school, and I always fought back. I wasn't going to sit down and take it. I've always had a difficult time with other females trying to overstep their boundaries with me. I remember one time, I don't know if we need to go into stuff I went through in school or not, but I'm sure whatever it is, maybe you have some idea of the kind of things I experienced. Now, first of all, no, I am not in lockstep with what's known as the manosphere. There's other names for it. I've heard the term red pill community. No, I'm not here to endorse that either. I kind of look at that as like the old 5th or 6th grade boys' secret clubhouse when they had a sign on the door that said no girls allowed. So, anyway. I'm not offended. I just look at that as their own space, you know. Now, there are some of these red pillar content uh, themes and ideas. There's some things that are true that I agree on. Now, there's some of them I don't know if it's intended is to be a reactionary or to produce rage bait. I mean, I used to hear all this stuff about Andrew Tate, and I had to set aside my curiosity and listen to a few videos with him, and I didn't really, I didn't really hear anything that I hadn't heard from one of these other um, red pillar types. He just kind of came across as a Mac Daddy type to me. I didn't really get what the big, except for whatever that crime was that he was. That's another story. Um, but the only time I really feel like I need to pay attention to some of these content creators is when they start talking about the real issues. Real issues uh, is that women and men in this day and age have a lot of this animosity towards each other. And the truth is, it was all part of structural engineering from the top down, going way, way back. I don't really have to say who. We can just call it the powers that be, the elite, the globalist, whatever term you want to use. But they are who orchestrated all of this nonsense that we're seeing. Because why divide and conquer, right? Getting groups of people riled up and mad at each other keeps them from focusing on the real issues. And they're too busy being mad at each other when they should be, they're pointing their fingers at each other instead of up there at that 1% who's behind all this shit. So, anyway, that's why I want to say men should stop being angry at women and really be angry at the system instead. And women need to do the same thing. Women need to quit being so damn mad at men, and they need to be mad at the man, because that is where all this has stemmed from. Now, I normally don't get into this whole thing where I talk about these problems I've had, but this whole thing with this past month, with dealing with my cousin, who, if you hadn't watched the other video, it's about the one about my cousin trying to evict my husband, and I go back and watch that one. I tell more about it. And this is somebody probably one of the last people I would expect to show this dark side. And she's not even talking to me. She's sent a nasty letter from her attorney. And there's somewhere in the letter it says, "I ask that you do not contact her. Please direct all your queries to me." And this is what pissed me off the most, is that she's not willing to talk to me face to face like an adult. Okay? I feel totally, as they used to say back in the 90s, totally dissed. I mean, I'm not so much mad that she wants us to leave as much as I'm being disrespected. And she's not even giving me the courtesy of even talking to me. Let's see how we can work this out, I mean, I hear that's getting more common nowadays. It is definitely the sign of society breaking down big time. And I do want to stress, this cousin has never been married. I don't get into her love life. That's not my place. But anyway, the whole thing has really soured me about making new friends. I mean, the only women I tend to hit it off with these days are, it seemed like in childhood, that was the last time I had a lot of happy times socially. Um, but then you hit 12 and 13 and everything seems to be about a competition for everything, including attention from the opposite sex. And that movie, Mean Girls, it became popular for a reason. I didn't know they did a remake. I saw the one, I think it came out in 2004 with Lindsay Lohan, if I'm not mistaken. But anyway, I kind of wandered off on that a little bit too much. But back to we had our court date 2 or 3 days ago, and they gave us 10 days to leave her house. I thought they were going to give us 30. And so now, and of course, only her attorney is dealing with me. Yes, I get it. She's in a post-stroke state. She's probably not in her right mind, but she's using a lawyer as a proxy. I mean, that's another reason I was not made for these times. So, okay. But getting back to, this and the workplace, school. I've been bullied in school. I've been in fights with other girls. I had to defend my honor. Yes, I may have paid a price for it, but I really felt like I had to defend my honor. And I've experienced toxic women in the workplace as well. I'll go into that in another video. But it all seems to come together. I think I understand why men are going overseas to find wives. Because if the average woman is like what I've been dealing with, or if the average woman is like my cousin and kind of girls I was dealing with in school, I get it. I really do. I don't think you can like buy a wife and bring her over here. I really don't think. I don't think that's it. But I think traveling, overseas. I mean, nothing else. If you get outside this really socially dysfunctional, toxic wasteland where you happen to be trapped in, you could at least gain a new perspective about a different world where people probably have a lot better mores and values. And I say to the guys that have married foreign women that are happy, my hat is off to you. I know there's probably guys out there that give the passport bros movement a bad name, but I think what they're doing is they're not going into it with both eyes open. They at least try to learn about the culture and something like the language, before you venture out there. I mean, it would help. I don't think women over there are simple-minded either. So a little bit of taking the time to learn something about the culture, I think, would go a long way. But yes, it seems like a lot of women in America today, and I would say the West, are pretty much, a lot of guys nail it. They're very materialistic and narcissistic. And this whole thing like going no contact, refusing to talk to a relative. Yes, that too. I understand that guys have been, their wives have divorced them and taken them to the cleaners and ruined their life. And I'm thinking, if feminism was supposed to be about equality, then why do they have to ruin the man's life? I don't understand that. I mean, how is that equality? They're only thinking about themselves. They're not even putting their kids first. So help me make this make sense. So, anyway, okay, kind of drawing a blank there, but I think you get the point. Kind of have. I remember one time we have a family friend, and this was when Mom was still alive. And this friend in question is dating a woman from Colombia. Now, and by the way, I've got another first cousin, and he married a woman from South America as well. And one day Mom said, What's it do with American men marrying these women from south of the border, foreign? What's the deal? What's these foreign women? What's wrong with those American women? And I was thinking, you know what I said? How much time you got? And I said, well, maybe foreign women actually put their families first, you know. I don't know if I should have kept my mouth shut, but I had to say what had to be said there. Um, so do with that what you will. But yeah, this has kind of gone on for a long ramble. And yes, I know I have been ragging on career women. And I know some of you are probably thinking a lot of that is coming from my feelings that I never could make a career work. And I'm kind of bitter about that. And yeah, I'm a little bitter, but it's only one small part of this. So there's something I was watching. I don't know. It was some video I saw on here, and there were all these women from the West, and they were talking about how, and they were just getting kind of butthurt and pissed off because their men, as they saw it, were dating foreign women. And they were talking about, we got careers, we are educated. You guys want to go over there and y'all want a woman to be y'all want an uneducated woman who's going to do your bidding and all this outrageous stuff. Oh, and then there's the classic. Oh, they just want a green card. I mean, all these shaming tactics. And actually, they just kind of told on themselves. You know, that's pretty much why the men want to leave. I mean, they can see what they've been dealing with. I mean, this whole thing about their education and their careers are supposed to be what sells them. A lot of these women are like picture a salesman who is trying to tell his customer base what they want instead of asking them or listening to what they want. That's what women are doing over here, you know. And it's not right, and it's messed up. Men do not want to come home to another version of them. You know what I mean? I mean, I understand that. It's not anything to do with being, what is the word? That word they use, subservient. They want their complement in their life. They don't want another competitor. America is always about competition, and maybe they would like to get a break from it, you know? So anyway, that's my ramble, and that's my take on modern day women and the difficulty I have with them. And I hit it off with women today if they're neurodivergent or very evolved. As it stands right now, I've got another first cousin I talked to. She lives over in the plains, and she's very nice. She's a career woman, but she's very different. She's not your typical career woman. She got married in her early 40s, which people used to say was likely. And she got married to a Chad, or a Chad Light, which is pretty cool too. I mean, of course, saying that don't happen. But anyway, that's pretty much it. I'll talk to you guys later.